Come gather round the campfire and hear our ghostly tales of chilling terrors, darkest woes, and anything that goes bump in the night. So cuddle up with your best friend or dare it alone. The darkness is closing in and spirits are calling your name. This is Fireside Phantoms. Good afternoon, Holly.
Good afternoon, Carol.
We're so serious today.
It's a very serious Sunday.
It's very serious. You know why so serious?
Why?
Because it's another episode of Paranormal and Paranoid News.
Yay!
There's so much going on.
There's so much happening.
There is. And one thing I've noticed, I know that we think kids are enlightened. They haven't been tainted from the spirit world when they're young.
They're tainted. They're like little petri dishes running around.
They're little petri dishes. But I find it really interesting, all the paranormal things kids say or have seen.
They say some really interesting things, don't they?
They do. So one story by someone who goes by Young MT at MXTracy66 on board panda.com. That's a mouthful.
That sure is. Wow.
Said, I was hiking alone in the woods with my son, who was 7. It was eerie quiet. Out of nowhere, he says to me, the woods require a sacrifice.
Oh my God. So he walked into a demonic force of some kind.
I don't know what I would do in that case. I probably would just end the hiking trip right there.
I would say, you know what? You're the sacrifice. You're not coming back to the car with mommy.
That's right, Jacob. Buck up. Get on that stone over there.
You see this bit of rope I brought with me? I'm going to tie you to the tree now.
And then you sent me a story just last week.
Yes, I did.
Of a mom who's been posting a series of stories on TikTok. Her handle is @strongmamas_strongbabies.
Wow.
And she said that her daughter sees ghosts. One night she said her daughter sits up and said Fletcher is here, who is their dog who passed away a year and a half ago.
Right.
And the mom replies, really, what is he doing? He's just sitting there floating up in the air, she said, like he's sitting on the air.
Good boy.
Mm-hmm. And then she said, let me see if I can get him to lay down, and went silent for a few minutes. And then she goes, oh, he laid down.
Good boy.
About 10 minutes later, the mom went to say something to her, and she said, shh, Fletcher is asleep. Her daughter, who was adamant that he was there, then pauses and said, but I wonder who all the other people here are.
That's so creepy.
So freaky.
When I watched that video the first time, I got the chills then when she ended it like that. I'm like, oh.
There's always a cliffhanger.
Right?
It's
totally fine
stories.
if your ghost dog is there, but who the hell are all these other people? It's like, what the hell does that mean?
She just casually says that.
Yeah, like,
Now, another friend of mine sent me a strange paranormal story that was reported on a local news website of Coarse Gold, California. Do you know where that place is?
No.
I don't either. Somehow it's in Madera County.
Okay.
James and Victoria Gorba, along with their 3 kids, were driving up in the Madera County mountains end of July to Chuyette Peak and decided to stop in a meadow to have a picnic lunch. Their youngest son, Aiden, who's 3 years old, appeared to be talking to an invisible someone almost immediately after getting out of the car. Aiden soon pointed to an area a short distance away and told his mother there was a lady who needed their help.
Oh.
Yeah, Victoria said her son said, quote, yeah, there's a lady over in the meadow in a black shirt. She needs our help, but she's dead and she's laying face down with her legs up and she can't talk to me, but she's over there.
Oh my God.
We need to go help her.
Oh, hell no. I'd be out of there so fast.
End quote.
I'd be like, bye. Nope.
Yeah, so the mom said after the family searched the whole area and not finding anything, Aiden became more adamant, insisting they believe his story. And he said, this lady, she's definitely there. He even described her further, saying she had blue jeans on and has blue hair.
Oh, wow.
Well, the whole family was so creeped out by his story, so they just decided to cut their family outing short and return back home. Deciding to post about their experience on Facebook in order to hopefully find out any information regarding this person, they got several responses saying, indeed, a lady, Sarah Hughes, was missing, last seen July 26th, 2020, last year. So almost the anniversary a year later.
Right.
And she was last seen in the area about 5 miles from where they were having lunch. So the Madera County Sheriff also saw the post and contacted them for more information. Aiden was able to identify the missing woman from 3 out of 4 pictures shown to him. The sheriff also had the boy point out the area where he saw the body, but they were unable to find anything connected to the missing lady. It was confirmed that when Sarah Hughes went missing, she had dyed her hair blue.
Oh, wow.
The case,
getting chills.
Yeah, the case is still open.
So they have not found her. They haven't found her.
And the pictures they showed him, she hadn't had her hair dyed.
But he was still able to pick her out.
Yep.
So he thinks she's somewhere in this field, and they went and looked in the field, and they could not find her there.
No.
But he said she was laying face down with her legs up.
Now that, I'm glad you brought up that detail, because that is an abnormal.
Yeah.
The body can't lay that way naturally when you're dead. Your
So
legs don't stick up when you're face down.
that makes me wonder how she died.
Yes.
What do you think how do you think she died?
I think her legs were tied.
Oh, yeah. So she was kidnapped and murdered and then dumped.
And then dumped.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
But why? I mean, it's a year later. They would have been able to find something unless she was drug away by.
Do you think maybe she was buried that way?
Maybe, but why wouldn't they start digging?
Well, they aren't sure where to dig. I mean, I wonder if they brought the boy with them to the camping spot. He was there, and he just said, "Oh, I saw her over here," but she was trying to communicate to him. She couldn't, though, but he could tell where her body was.
He could.
Wow. I imagine having that kind of ability. I just think that would be so amazing. And I know a lot of people that have it are like, yeah, you don't want this. But I think it would be incredible to have.
Well, I think a lot of kids have that ability.
Yeah, because there must be something that happens when you go through puberty or as you get older that part of you kind of falls away in order for the earthly part of you to really evolve and take off, and you're more preoccupied with regular life type stuff.
I love how when you were saying that, you were yawning as you were talking.
Boring. Yeah.
No.
I want to stay in the spirit part. I think that's more interesting.
It is very interesting, and more research definitely needs to be done on. I know that kids stay in their alpha brainwave state more easily. It's that creative, open-minded, playtime type thinking. So that might have something to do with it.
Yeah.
So this next creepy story is told by TikTok user at KodaTheDreamer. He said that a mom was talking about her 2-year-old daughter when one day she and her daughter were in the kitchen and she noticed that her daughter had put the Barbie she was playing with into her Easy Bake oven.
Uh-oh.
Well, I did things like that with my G.I. Joe dolls.
All I did was make beautiful cakes in my Easy Bake oven. I was a perfect child.
I did. Of course you were. My baking skills were not good as a kid.
I'm still
gave
amazed,
up on it.
Looking back over time. Would they sell an Easy Bake oven today?
No way. That thing is such a fire hazard.
So toxic. It could totally kill you.
Awful.
Oh my God, it was awesome.
Okay, back to the story. No Easy Bake ovens.
I just love that you have Easy Bake oven in your story at all, because that brings me back to a good time in my life.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, totally.
So she quickly told her daughter. Okay, so when she noticed that her daughter put the Barbie in the baking oven, she told her daughter, no, honey, we don't cook people. To which her daughter replied, oh, Mom, don't worry. I'm not cooking her all the way, just until her skin peels off.
Ew.
Okay, my next story. So one night, a military mom and her 4-year-old were sleeping. They often shared the same bed when her husband was deployed, and the kid pointed to the mom's face one night and declared that a demon was next to her in the bed.
Ew.
No, honey, that's just my new boyfriend while your daddy's gone. So being freaked out by it, the mom started to pray. And in the middle of her prayer, the daughter put a hand over her mom's mouth and said, "Shh, don't do that. The demon doesn't like it."
Ew.
Aren't these crazy?
Yeah. You know what? I'd be like, you know what? Tomorrow, honey, we're going to go to an orphanage and you'll never see mommy again because I cannot handle your bullshit right now. That's probably what I would say.
An orphanage?
Yeah.
God,
Give her up
you
for
are so
adoption.
horrible.
Like right this second. Like, don't you ever say that to me again. Shame, shame, shame.
This is why Holly never had kids.
That we know of.
So this story works well into my next one. Satan shoes is back in the news, Holly.
It is, really.
It is.
Oh my God.
So this time, a marketing campaign ad from Converse
Oh my God.
has gotten severe backlash from many angry consumers.
Yep, I know what you're going to talk about. Yep.
Commenting on the blatantly satanic symbolism they're advertising.
What is going on with sneaker ads?
I don't get it. It was seen in a marketing campaign featuring fashion designer Rick Owens, who uses a pentagram for the logo in his brand of shoe called Dark Shadow. And I love how they do brands now. They remove all vowels from the word and just have consonants. So it's DRKSHDW.
Yeah.
Like that's the new thing.
Like you should know what that stands for.
Yeah, the brain can fill in the gaps.
Oh my
It's Dark
gosh.
Shadow. So anyway, this logo appears on shoes that are part of the line, but Converse said it really hasn't replaced its all-star logo with a pentagram and said you can't just associate the pentagram with Satanism, as it's used in Wicca too. Come on. And the pentagram traditionally, though, is the official symbol of the Church of Satan. But yes, there are many goth and in my day punk fans who would just wear it to be cool, moody, and fashionable. I mean, Madonna used to wear it, right?
Yeah.
But oh wait, she is a Satanist, isn't she?
She's into Kabbalah.
Oh, she is. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Madonna. Anyway, but I can see how in looking at this marketing campaign, critics say they use the shape of Baphomet, the goat, and vampire-looking models. Yeah, it's really weird and scary. The designer was asked if he was a Satanist, and he said that he likes geometric designs and suggests the pentagram represents the pursuit of pleasure and sensation.
Satan.
Yes. He also said that with the pentagram having many different associations, he likes to think of it as an alternative system that suggests openness and empathy. I'm not getting any empathy by looking at these pictures. Do you, Holly?
Well, they're dark and creepy.
Yeah, the models appear in all black leather clothing with long, sharp, creepy nails, dead-looking faces painted in white makeup with scary eyes and red lips. Yeah. Holding a pentagram in their mouths.
Yeah. I think that if you want to use the pentagram and be all about love and light, there are other ways you can do that. Because yes, the pentagram is definitely a symbol of witchcraft, which there are a lot of white positive witches out there, and they use the pentagram for good and not evil. And so I'm not on board with the whole, this is just because I want people to think it's kind of cool.
And it goes beyond just using the pentagram. There's another photo shoot that depicts two models who pose in a formation. And people say that if you do the 3D rotation of it, it creates the outline of Baphomet, the Baphomet head and the pentagram with it. And you know what's really strange to me is that Nike had to sue earlier this year against another company. They actually won the case for the knockoff company. Again, they removed all the letters, but it's Mischief.
Yeah.
MSCHF.
Do you think it's because everybody texts now and they don't bother to spell out words anymore?
I don't know, but it's a really weird thing that I'm just noticing. And they made their Little Nas X Satan shoes with a drop of human blood in the sole.
Yeah.
Well, it's odd to me that Nike would then allow Converse, who they own, by the way, to even come out with this line of shoe, considering all the public backlash that they received over this perceived branding that Nike was doing the selling of these Little Nas X shoes.
I didn't know that Nike owned Converse.
I didn't either until I read, the articles and started researching it.
That is kind of interesting then, isn't it? That they would go, oh, yeah, we are not associated with those Satan shoes, but we are with these. These Satan shoes.
Well, I mean, money sells, right? And they saw how quickly
It's
all
provocative.
666 pairs sold out. So what they guessed was, well, maybe we should launch our own Satan line.
Just do it under the Converse brand.
Right. And on July 27th, when Converse launched their new brand, they were right. All of their $170 shoes sold out within only 7 days of the initial launch.
So you'll know when you see a Satanist if they're wearing those shoes. Hey, you and I have Converse shoes.
No, I know. And I was just going to say there's been a lot of ghost sightings that I've seen around Portland.
Yes.
With these Converse pink high tops.
Pink Converse, not the evil dark ones they're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't know if ghosts want to be identified with Converse
They
now.
probably don't. They probably don't.
They don't. And because they're ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very different. Very different indeed. So I think this is going to backfire on Converse harder than they realize. If you go to the designer's Instagram account and you view all the comments, he is getting slaughtered.
Wow.
People are going
Pissed.
to chuck their chucks, you know? They are angry. And
Wow.
I just decided, you know, let's go with Reebok because they just came out with their Jurassic Park sneakers.
Does it have a picture of a T-Rex on the side with little arms?
No, but and it has quotes. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. But that's more our style. Or Vans. Vans are good.
Does it have Jeff Goldblum quotes? Please tell me it does.
It probably does. I haven't looked at it.
And that picture of him when he's like sitting on the back of the Jeep with his shirt open and he's like looking all sexy. Yeah.
So, all right, my last few stories are all paranoid news.
Okay.
The first being that NASA just announced the moon is going to be all wobbly. And typically, the moon has a wobble phase of 18.6 years. Half of it, they say, cause the Earth's tides to be suppressed. And then the other half of that yearly cycle, it will be extreme, causing massive tidal waves and flooding worldwide.
So I'm glad I don't own any property on the Oregon coast.
So guess when this is scheduled to happen?
Should I sit down?
Holly, don't you realize you're sitting down?
I know, but like I don't even know if I want to hear this.
So this is the phase where it's not expressed, it's suppressed. And we still have all this flooding going on worldwide.
So when's it going to happen?
The extreme phase is scheduled to start in 2030. So yes, you will be alive.
Okay, we have plenty of time though.
No, you'll be alive. And we have to look forward to that. So
I thought you were going to say 2023.
Oh,
That's
no.
what I thought you were going to say.
No.
Well, by 2030, I may not be alive because, you know,
No,
COVID,
I don't know.
COVID.
Oh,
And
Stop.
maybe I'll move further inland, knowing full well that we have a very large and threatening earthquake possibility that could hit here. And with all these floods coming, you know, maybe I'll just go closer into the Midwest.
yes. So those of you who own property on the coast, anywhere, this is your warning.
Get out.
You have been
Get
warned.
out now.
Sell your home. Now's the time to
It's
sell.
not worth it. You're too young.
And then I'm going to buy it. And so then when the prediction is
exactly.
not bad, I get
Carol
the
is
hot
looking to buy on the
property.
coast right now.
So sea level rising in the next decade. And, you know, it's blamed on the moon this time. Isn't that great?
Interesting.
Not Satan. Other moon news.
What about the dark
scientists-
side of the moon?
Well, that's a conspiracy
Well,
that I
that's
haven't
where
even talked about.
Where Satan lives is on the dark side of the moon, right?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I'm not in touch with Satan, are you?
He resides there and within my heart. Those are the two places I know.
Great, Holly. So, also, I came across an article that scientists want to send a sperm bank to the moon, holding the sperm of all species just in case of, you know, total human annihilation happening soon or flooding. I don't know. Should we just blow up the moon? I mean, how dare it do that to us? Anyhow, I feel like we're in the wrong timeline because supposedly they said this news was known as far back as 1728. But of course, we're just now hearing about this. Have you ever heard that the moon wobbled?
News travels slowly from 1728. It takes a while to get here.
I've never heard that the moon has a wobble.
No, but I heard that it's made of cheese.
Yes.
And we know that's true.
And that there's an old man face in the moon.
There is an old man face, and that there's the Pink Floyd rock band lives on the dark side of it
We love
with
that.
Satan and his friends. And South Park says that there's a killer whale
Oh my God.
laying up there.
South Park's so
Oh,
great.
God.
Of course,
So
life,
funny.
Life for me just is so crazy right now. I used to think, like, as I got older, the thing I would most be worrying about is the wobble under my chin.
Nah.
But apparently not. I have new things to worry about. So do you remember that movie with Anne Hathaway that involved a big boat called the Titanic that crashed into an iceberg and sunk?
Anne Hathaway?
Oh, that's right. It was Kate Winslet.
Yeah.
That's right. It would have been a musical if Anne was in it.
Yeah.
Did you know Hathaway, though, once cried after reading an article about Kate Winslet in Vogue? Why? Why, do you ask?
Why?
Because she is so overwhelmed by how much she loves Winslet.
Are they friends?
I think they adore each other. I don't know.
I guess they do.
Well, okay, so there's a Titanic museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which made headline news recently when their fake iceberg fell and crashed into a bunch of tourists, sending 3 people to the hospital. No, this is actually really sad.
I shouldn't laugh. That's terrible.
One person was even airlifted with serious injuries. No, this thing really...
I was picturing like a styrofoam iceberg falling on somebody.
I know how it is. Like you see it in your mind and you think it looks comical.
Because icebergs are deadly no matter what form they take, apparently. That's bad.
Yeah, it was not a good thing. And so in looking at this museum, it's pretty cool. It's like shaped like a ship. And the interactive museum allowed visitors to touch a realistic freezing cold gigantic ice cube, aka the iceberg, shovel coal, sit in a lifeboat, learn how to do an SOS distress signal, put their hand in 28-degree water, and try to stand up on a sloping deck. So a very interactive museum.
That's kind of interesting.
Do you know what I'm thinking? They reportedly have around 400 real artifacts from the actual Titanic.
Really?
And those objects, they went through a great tragedy.
Yeah.
Residual energy.
So you think that it's haunted in there from all the artifacts?
I do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They say their collection is worth over $4.5 million.
Really? Shit.
Also, this is the topper for me. The visitors, when you go to that museum and visit, each of them are given a boarding pass with the names of actual passengers or crew members who've perished on the doomed ocean liner.
That
Wait to
seems
give
a
you a
little
nice
dark.
curse as you walk through the door.
It does seem dark to do that.
Isn't that dark?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a really cool idea. It's just there's darkness attached to it because of the tragedy.
Trying to make it too real.
It's almost too real, yeah. And so, in my opinion, I think it might be haunted. And according to the owners, I mean, they have taken it really seriously. They closed the museum. They're trying to figure out what happened. But they're just as shocked by the incident, saying they have no idea what caused it. And a staff member was quoted as saying, "Something has caused that ice to fall off that wall." And they have no idea.
Really? Huh. So you think the ghost did it? That they're pissed that they're being exploited in this way, and they were like, "Fuck these guys," and then they knocked over the iceberg.
I think it's weird. I don't know. It's probably some mechanical failure that happened, but it would be really interesting to follow up and see what they found out, because they had no idea what happened. And they're going to reopen if they're not already reopened, and they intend to keep it still as part of their display, but they're going to have to rebuild it.
Huh. Wow.
Did you know Anne Hathaway likes to take freezing cold showers?
Where are you on an Anne Hathaway
I'm sorry,
kick?
but did you know she had a near-death experience?
No.
And it coincidentally involved her being swept out to sea by a riptide in Oahu, Hawaii.
Really?
She said she was
Shit.
freaked out, but was saved by a nearby surfer. Well, I just heard a creepy conspiracy about her
Uh-oh.
and William Shakespeare. Now,
They dated once.
there's always been this mystery surrounding the identity of William Shakespeare.
See, and I have a theory that William Shakespeare and William Shatner are the same person.
Okay, I want to hear that theory. Hold that thought, because I love where your brain goes right now.
Okay.
So William Shakespeare has troubled historians due to his, prolific ability to write all those plays and sonnets. And it doesn't seem like his material, the way he writes, matches up with the man, William Shakespeare, that historians have researched. So some have suspected Francis Bacon, the philosopher, was the true author of all the masterpieces. But the conspiracy, though, is that William Shakespeare might be a mortal or a time traveler. So bear with me.
Okay.
One group of people who believe in this theory are convinced he's immortal and wrote all those stories himself and presented them in one lifetime, but of course worked on them for many lifetimes prior. Others say, no, he's a time traveler and he hid his true identity and collected or stole stories from many writers over time and then published them as his own under a pen name, William Shakespeare.
Yep.
So how does this involve Anne Hathaway, you ask?
How does it involve Anne Hathaway?
Well, thank you for asking, Holly. Shakespeare, was married to a lady named Anne Hathaway.
Oh.
And it gets better.
Okay.
Anne's husband, who is also an actor, Adam Schulman, just happens to look exactly like William Shakespeare.
So today's Anne Hathaway is married to a guy who looks just like William Shakespeare.
Yeah, the actress Anne Hathaway. Here, look at the pictures. I have them right there. So it's uncanny, the resemblance, right?
They do look very, very similar, yes. Like they're probably at least related, at the very least, but it might be the same guy reincarnated. Actually, you know what this makes me think of? Remember a couple weeks ago when we were telling you the story about the reincarnated guy in Butte, Montana that was running the brothel?
Yes.
And he looked just like the picture of the guy that used to own it.
And we talked about how when you are reincarnated,
you look very
you keep
similar
the same
type
profiles.
Same type of
signature look.
Very close to the same kind of facial features.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's some more going down the rabbit hole with this. Shakespeare was born in 1564 on April 23rd, and supposedly he died on the same day in 1616. Well, that's suspicious, right? Who dies on the exact day they're born? Made up, totally made up.
Some people do, but it's very rare.
It's very, very,
Very
rare.
rare.
There were also years when Shakespeare had nothing documented about him, from the years 1585 to 1592. And it was as if, poof, he seemed to vanish. Before Shakespeare died, he said to his wife, "I've always loved you in this life and will love you in the next life." But when he died, his daughter was named first as heir over his wife. Maybe they're both time travelers, huh? Which is weird. Okay, that is so weird unless you think your wife is going to keel over just soon after you.
Well, maybe he
are
doesn't
dead.
think that his daughter will get married and he wants to make sure she's taken care of or something.
But what about your wife?
Well, maybe he knows that she'll take care of mom until mom dies.
Okay, you got a good point.
I'm just throwing it out there. Perhaps.
I like that.
You just had the one daughter?
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. Her name was Susanna, I know that, but he might have had others with her. And instead of the usual loving epitaph that you would expect to be on his tombstone, there was stamped a curse to anyone who dared move his bones.
Oh.
Probably because, wink, wink, his bones aren't even in there. Ha ha.
I bet you he was, quote unquote, buried in the Highgate Cemetery.
I bet.
And he probably haunts it now.
They're all friends.
They're all friends.
So when actress Anne Hathaway and Adam were asked how the two met, Adam said it was instant love at first sight.
He probably saw her and said, "There's a famous celebrity. Get on that right now. She's got a lot of fucking money."
But Anne Hathaway
was like,
said,
he was all right.
Yeah. No. Anne Hathaway said she knew they were going to be married someday after their very first date.
Some people do. They look at each other and like, "Oh, there's my person."
She did. She actually, she was said in the interview that after their first date, she planned like this huge vacation for them.
Yeah.
Like just went all in.
That was date number 2, was like they went on
Date
vacation together.
See, some people jump to,
See, my person, that was what they would do. They would be like, "Oh, you're my person? We're going to Hawaii next week." And I'd be like, "Okay.
I'm in. I'm all in."
Right.
Anne claimed if she hadn't become a famous actress, her fallback passion job would have been an English professor. I just bet you she would have taught Shakespearean literature.
Wow.
Because after all, her parents named her specifically after Shakespeare's wife. Did you know Kate Winslet turned down the role of Shakespeare in Love because she was tired from filming Titanic? But she did play Ophelia in Shakespeare's Hamlet 1994 film starring Kenneth Branagh. And did you know Kate Winslet also had a near-death experience involving water?
So now we're not talking about Anne Hathaway. We're talking about her best friend.
Dots, connecting dots.
Okay.
Bear with me. It was during Titanic, while filming a scene in the sinking ship, Winslet accidentally snagged her coat on a gate as she ran, and she was dragged underwater, almost drowning.
Wow, I didn't hear about that.
There are also many dark conspiracies about this movie being cursed. Many people on the cast and crew spoke of all the crazy things that happened. So here's where the conspiracy ties in. Fans think James Cameron, the director, was trying to convey a secret message in the movie involving time travel and Shakespeare. Is your mind blown yet? This rabbit hole?
Because he tried to kill Kate Winslet? I'm not clear.
Okay, let me break it down for you.
Because he broke an iceberg in a museum and tried to kill some tourists?
No. So fans say the character Jack from Titanic is secretly a time traveler. He was only there to save Rose from committing suicide early in the movie, and thus he altered the timeline. And did you know Shakespeare was obsessed with roses? Shakespeare... I know. Okay, this is a stretch, but bear with me.
Okay.
Shakespeare refers to the rose over 70 times. It is the most mentioned flower throughout his work. He even wrote War of the Roses. So what if the director was trying to tell us a secret about Shakespeare? Because one of Shakespeare's greatest works, we all know, was writing Romeo and Juliet in 1591. And with all conspiracies aside, the movie was already being compared to the love story depicted between Jack and Rose from the Titanic, even with the same initials, J and R, for Romeo and Juliet. And of course, there's the scene, the famous scene of Jack sacrificing himself because of his love for Rose, when we all know she could have made room for him on the wooden raft. The little bitch.
The door.
It's like, Juliet, why did you have to do that and make yourself look like you're dead? Now you killed your Romeo.
I guess Leonardo
thing.
DiCaprio, like every interview he gives, people always ask him, do you think that there would have been room for both you and Rose on the door?
Yeah, that's always the famous
He's just
question.
like, I don't care.
He's like, stop asking me this
asking
question.
me. That movie's going to haunt me until the end of my life.
Okay,
Yeah.
so curiously, we still have some more points to make.
Oh my God. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
All right.
I'm seatbelted in.
Okay, thank you. If a time traveler existed, let's just say it's true,
Okay.
and Shakespeare was actually Francis Bacon, then it's really curious to note a strange prominent man, an ambassador named Robert Bacon, and his family booked passage aboard the Titanic. But due to a delayed departure, never made it on board the ship. Was there any relation, Holly, to the former Bacon? Well, everybody's related to Bacon, right? Six degrees.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. We're
So
talking
now
about a different Kevin Bacon.
is William Shakespeare.
Now Kevin Bacon is part of the conspiracy. Do you see how this happens? Do you see it? Are you still not sure?
I'm tired.
Okay. but we will perhaps return to discuss all these strange stories of the cursed White Star line of ships, which does include the Titanic, in another episode. So for now, I'll leave you with this quote, Holly. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts.
Thank you, Carol. That was incredible.
Of course, that's by Shakespeare, As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7. I didn't
Nice.
actually. Yeah, that's his quote.
Yes, nice.
Or Francis Bacon's quote.
Or Kevin Bacon's quote.
Or if it is Kevin. Or William Shatner.
Or William Shatner. Or Kate Winslet. I don't know.
You know, Kate Winslet might be a contender.
She might.
I would be exploring this a lot further with my daughter. I'd be like, and what are you going to do with the skin once it comes off of the Barbie?
I'm going to eat it, Mommy, because that's what cannibals do. Is this getting into a weird space? Because you talked about the creepy kids. But we already know kids are creepy, so what we would ask about. And then,
okay, Josh got that.
We could ask if Nike
Converse.
is up to no good with these weird shoes.
Yeah, I mean, of course they are. As the flames die down, do remain undaunted.
Though all hitchhikers are ghosts,
And all dolls are definitely haunted.
hey guys, be sure to follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @FiresidePhantoms. If you have a spooky story you would like to share with us, send it to firesidephantoms@gmail.com and you may hear it on a future episode.